Hi Leo, and welcome to your reading for 2019 and overview of the year ahead for you guys. My name is Melanie. Today I'm using two different decks of cards. The first one is called Tattoo Tarot Ink and Intuition, of which you can see most of the cards there. The other card I've used is from a deck called the Dreamtime Reading Cards, and I use that card more as like a theme for the year. I use these cards more as like oracle cards. The Dreamtime is the Aboriginal Australian sort of spiritual belief system, and they're a beautiful set of cards. And I read, at the end of the reading, I'll read from this lovely book here about what that card means for you guys. Yes, but let's just dive into it. So the cards there look at the past. This first card there represents 2018, what perhaps was an area of focus, what lessons you might have learned, some of the past energy there. Across the top row there, that's 2019 and looking at different areas of your life. So the first card there, the Queen of Swords, that represents love and relationships for 2019. The second card is about the area of money and finances for this year for Leos. That's the Five of Cups reversed. The next card there representing the area of work, study, hobbies for 2019. The Three of Swords came out for you guys. The next card along representing spirituality, matters of faith. The Knave of Coins, otherwise known as the Page of Pentacles, came out for you. And finally, in the area of health, the Hanged Man showed up. The final two cards here on the bottom right represent obstacles that may come up this year for Leos, just to be mindful of. And also the last card there, and that's the Ten of Swords. The last card, the Hermit, being about possible helpful tools that may be of use this year for lovely Leos. Okay, so starting with last year, 2018, the Three of Wands. So the Three of Wands is a card about strength in numbers, about success, about busy times, being on the go, cooperation in business, troubles ending, a ceasefire, standing on sort of a mountaintop and looking at your ships coming in, waiting for their return, favourable returns, after hard work and some in some sort of, I guess, heavy areas of your life, there is some now good returns coming in. This is a card of preparation and foresight, looking ahead, looking at what's coming towards you now, having been sort of going the distance and then seeing the rewards coming in and feeling like you're at the last leg of a journey, so to speak, and being in more of a stable place and going your own way. So given the meaning of the card, it sounds like 2018 was quite a busy year, a lot of hard work in perhaps a few different areas of your life. There was perhaps some bumpy steps along the way, but towards the end of the year things were coming to an end in that regard. The problems were sort of ending. The hard work that you'd put in, some of the difficulties of the journeys that you'd been on 2018 were wrapping up, and you could see the end in sight, and you could sort of maybe see some good things coming in on the horizon there, which I think is a positive way to end the year, obviously, and to start off 2019 having kind of now crossed a lot of ground, and now looking ahead to the future, going, what's now coming towards me. I've done the hard work. I've still got a little way to go. Maybe there's still some ups and downs. I'm not sure where the loyalties lie. Possibly there were some disappointments as well, but overall, the last leg of the journey was showing up in towards the end of 2018. Moving on to 2019, and the first area of your life for this year, for our lives. I'm a Leo, so I'm hoping this is going to resonate with me as well. And on that note, this is a general reading, so it may or may not resonate. I encourage you to take what you like and leave the rest. and if nothing else, that it's of use for you in some way, shape or form. So anyway, 2019 in the area of love and relationships, Queen of Swords. So what is this card? The Queen of Swords is a confident woman. She's wise. She is very good with her thinking. She's a quick thinker. She's very perceptive. She's in sort of strength from within. She's intelligent. She's can be quite cool and calm and collected on the exterior, that sort of hides this inner softness and her inner femininity. This is a woman who's gone through hardship, who's done the hard yards to get where she is now. Sometimes she can be a bit, like I said, a bit cold. Sometimes she can be a bit distant. But overall, she is a wise, older woman. This could always represent an actual female in your life. She's a very good communicator. She's very good at bettering herself. She's quite assertive, ambitious, perfectionistic. This could actually be a woman who is a widow or has not had children, but has been productive in other areas of your life. This could also be a counsellor. So what does this mean in the area of love for Leos this year? The Queen of Swords gets what she wants, but she's an independent woman. So she's not in a place of kind of neediness and I need to be in a relationship and woe is me. She's in quite a content place within herself. She doesn't need anyone to make her happy, but she may just choose to find a partner. And she's in a good place in her life to pick and choose someone who's going to suit her, you know. So you can, in 2019, maybe this is a year that you're coming to a place or coming from a place of independence, of clearer thinking, of contentment within yourself, knowing that you don't have to go out there and grovel and be desperate kind of thing to find someone, or if there is any of that energy in your relationship. Instead, there's this is saying that you're now making clear and concise choices about what is best for you in love or relationships in general. If we're talking about relationships in a broad sense, you can be selective. You know what you want now. You can find someone who's going to fit you and your nature and your sort of independent state that you may be in this year, of like, I don't need anyone, but I may want someone in my life and I'm going to find the best match for me. I'm going to be more selective and more choosy, really. So I think that's a really good, strong place to be in relation to love and relationships, because you're coming from a secure place within yourself, a place of sort of accomplishment, having gone through perhaps some hard yards in relation to love and relationships, and now going, you know what, I can take it or leave it, but if I want to take it, I'm going to make sure I get the best fit for me. Moving on now to the area of money and finances for 2019. God, I can't believe it's 2019. The Five of Cups reversed came out for Leos. So traditionally the Five of Cups is a card of disappointment. You know, it's a card of loss, despair, regret, mourning something that hasn't worked out, disappointing relationships, perhaps bitterness. It can represent the new start of things. It can represent, even though there has been loss of some sort, there is still hope on the horizon. Reverse, though, the meaning of this is about more acceptance, forgiveness, the end of disappointment. It can be about moving on. If the Five of Cups in a reading is about loss and grieving in some way, reversed it can mean sort of carelessness in relation to grieving. My sense, though, is with this card, and I guess my hope for this card for this year for Leos in the area of money and finances, is an end to disappointment in this area. That there is a new way of looking and dealing with finances, and issues around money that have been very disappointing if you've been very stuck in a cycle or feeling that you're in this kind of lack mentality, or things have not worked out, things haven't been budgeted well, or suddenly you're out of pocket, there's a million things that can go wrong with money which can cause great stress, that this year is going to be different, that there's an end to that disappointment and frustration and the loss, perhaps the loss of money. Now there is going to be more gains, or more of a steady progress in this area, more stability, more structure around it, a real shift in that regard, which I think is a really, really great thing that can cause a lot of drama in one's life. So if 2018 was quite difficult financially, or you ended the year going, what the hell happened? 2019 looks quite different in that regard, and that there's an ending of some sort of the way things have been handled financially in your life. Good stuff. Moving on to the area of work for 2019, work / hobbies / study, anything you regard as work, maybe even volunteer work. The Three of Swords came up. Look, which is another card that's a bit tricky. Unfortunately, it's not. It's not reversed. So the Three of Swords represents heartbreak, sorrow. It's another card of grief, painful separation, a loss of some sort, an emotional release. It's a card of temporary pain, though, a reminder that pain and loss are part of life, but that after a loss or a heartbreak of some sort, recovery can occur, and it's always better to face and deal with pain, and that there's disappointment to work through, and that work through it you will. So what does this mean in relation to work? It may well mean that something doesn't quite work out as you hoped for or expected to. It can be about learning a lesson of letting go of something that's no longer serving you in the area of work. An old cycle moving on, and new stuff coming in, positive stuff. This is a reminder that resisting change in your life often makes things worse. So maybe the area of work for you guys has been a contentious issue. You've wanted to change something, or there has been a lot of change, or you felt very stuck in some regards, and now change is coming. It may be difficult at times. I think this card is suggesting that, and like I said, you may not get what you expected. Look, I guess the trick with that is to, you either go with the flow or you fight it. If there are disappointments and unexpected changes coming up, it doesn't necessarily by all means mean it's a bad thing. At the time, of course, it can feel difficult and shocking and heartbreaking, but if you broaden your perspective and give it time, talk to people around you, maybe seek some counsel, seek some support. Try not to see it as the world ending and everything kind of changing too dramatically and everything's out of your control. We always have control in the way we think and the way we choose to interpret things, how we emotionally deal with changes that happen around us, particularly in the area of work, which is obviously quite important for many people to bring in money. But let's just remember that the card before, in relation to money and finances this year, suggests the ending of bad stuff in that area, the ending of disappointment. So here we are with a card next to that, again about sort of grief and disappointment and loss and heartbreak and temporary pain and the inevitability of pain in our lives. But sitting next to a card saying that there's going to be an ending to the way that money's been dealt with in the past. So whatever changes are happening, I think ultimately it's for a good reason. And that you just have to hang in there, work through the difficulties that may come up in this area, these unexpected, possible unexpected changes, and move on. Come up with a new plan. Look at your financial situation. Look at the skills that you have. Do I need to go back to study? Do I need to upskill? Do I just want to completely change tack? Do I want to go into something more creative? Do I want to follow my heart more? Often I think when something, if you get made redundant or you're fired or something dramatic happens in that regard, sometimes it's the universe, the way of the universe stepping in and giving you an opportunity to pursue something you really want to pursue, you know, because often we're so frightened of following our heart, you know, and this is a card about heartbreak. So, you know, maybe this is an opportunity to face that and to try something really different. But that's up to you. And that, look, of course, that may not happen this year as well. This is, like I said, a general reading. Moving on now to the next card, the Knave of Coins, otherwise called the Page of Pentacles in other decks. And this is in the area of spirit and spirituality and faith and your sort of belief systems. The Knave of Coins represents a youngish kind of person, earth sign, earthy kind of energy. The pentacles or the coins represent that. Typically this card can represent really practical things, a new job, manifesting stuff, financial opportunities and steady work coming in, practical kind of stuff, study, meditation, concentration, learning new things, the love of learning new things. A page can be a messenger of some sort, bringing in messages of relation to money, work, finances, support, developing being a scholar in some way, you know, practical learning stuff. So my thoughts around this card in relation to the area of spirituality is that perhaps you are wanting to, and you will be learning some new stuff this year. You'll be looking at things with new fresh eyes, like a student just heading off to uni, to college, to an apprenticeship, to something that they're really excited about, and they're like, wicked, I'm learning new stuff. This is kind of grounding me and growing me in an area of my life that you want to have more mastery over, which in this position would be in relation to your connection to your belief system, God, the universe, whatever you choose to call that. It has this kind of innocent energy about it, this innocent fascination with ideas and new things, and what's that about? And I want to learn about that, and that looks really cool. I really want to learn that. So maybe you will actually be getting some messages this year from the universe coming to you, you know, this sense that you're really connected and you're really tuned into that. Maybe otherwise you will be talking to people who are relaying messages to you who are on the same kind of level as you, and you'll be talking about these kind of issues of relation to spirituality and beliefs and stuff like that, and you're like, man, this is really resonating to me, and you feel like these messages are coming through to you through people or directly through the divine. Either way, it's kind of new stuff, new energy, new learning, new things in this area that are going to give you, I think, more almost of a sort of tangible sense of spirit and the spirit and the universe and God, not just some sort of diffuse energy or belief system or vague feelings, but actually more of a concrete kind of connection there going on, given that this is a card of pentacles and coins and kind of this earthly practical matters. Moving on now to the final card in that, along the top row there, the Hanged Man in the area of health for 2019 for lovely, beautiful Leos. Of course I would say that. So the Hanged Man card is a card about suspension, is about things being put on hold. It's very much a card about a new perspective. Obviously that guy is hanging upside down. He can see the world in a completely different light, in a different way. He's quite chilled though, he's quite serene, he's quite peaceful. There's a lot of thinking going on and seeing things in a new way. You can see in the card there, his head is kind of illuminated. He's not there struggling, he's not there fighting. He may well have put himself, I'm saying him because there's a man on the card, of course that can be anyone, may well have put himself in that position there, and he's having to wait. He's in limbo in some regards, and he's having to sort of work something out and just kind of surrender to that process there. It is a card sometimes of feeling restrained and feeling bound by things and just having to wait and put things on hold in relation to health. This can be encouraging you to consider if anything is unbalanced in your body in relation to your health, and to find more balance, to find more equilibrium. A card about reflection. Obviously this guy is having to reflect on a lot of stuff hanging upside down there. Reflect on what you could be doing better in relation to your body and your health this year. How can you get more balance? This can also mean it is time this year to get some, if you're concerned about anything in relation to your health, to seek professional advice around that. Whatever health professionals you typically go to, but if something serious is coming up in your body, you need to get some serious help with that as well, and maybe balance that out. Balance the medical mainstream Western medical help with perhaps alternative stuff, if you choose to do that as well, with Eastern kind of stuff, with alternative therapies. Can be awesome complementary stuff, but finding a really good balance in that regard if you are needing to seek proper treatment and assistance for something. Otherwise, this is about having perhaps a new perspective on your body and trying to get more balance overall. If your eating's been out of whack, or you're consuming too many drugs and alcohol, if you're not sleeping enough, if you're not exercising enough, or if you're exercising too much, this is a card encouraging you to be less extreme and be more balanced and frankly more kind and gentle to yourself at the end of the day. Moving on to possible obstacles that may come up for Leos this year. Ten of Swords. Another doozy of a card. I don't know what's happening for us this year, guys. Some really lovely cards, but also some quite challenging cards. But hey, challenged, we've got to get out of our comfort zone to grow and to change, to better ourselves. Whether we like it or not, you can fight that shit, or you can just go with the flow and deal with it as it comes up, So Ten of Swords is a card about feeling stabbed in the back. It's about feeling betrayed, feeling that the worst has happened, feeling quite hurt, disillusioned, crisis, loss, affliction, possibly more grief, more pain. The thing with this card though is that it's a 10, it's the end of a cycle, and there's lovely new things on the horizon, a new dawn is coming. It's only a matter of time before things turn around and before lessons are learnt. I think the key thing with this card is that what lessons are you going to take from what happens this year? This can be the death of something in your life, a metaphorical death of something. This is a card of swords. Swords being thinking, beliefs, ideas, matters of the mind. This may well be the death of a certain way of thinking this year, a way of thinking that has kept you trapped, that ultimately does you in. And I think that's a very good thing if you've been really stuck in patterns of negative thinking, of cognitive distortions, of very old ingrained ways of interpreting the world. This may well be the end of that. Something may happen to end that, or you may come to a process or a point within yourself. I need to change this. I need to get out of this cycle. I need to go seek some help about this. I'm feeling at rock bottom. This is a card sometimes about rock bottom in some ways. To stop. Hopefully this can be about deciding to end the over-analysing, the overthinking, the over-dramatising things. That always, I think, makes things worse in our lives, obviously. This is a card, though, as like I said, the ending of a cycle. This is a passing phase. So, ultimately, it's a card of ending and new beginnings, of being able to rebuild things, of being able to start fresh, So this card suggests that there could be some feelings, some difficult feelings and situations coming up this year, leading you sometimes to feel a bit betrayed. There could be a crisis of some sort. I hope only one crisis this year. You can either let this get the better of you, or you can pick yourself up, move on. when I say pick yourself up, if you need support, you get support. If you need to retreat, you retreat for a bit. If you need to talk, if you need to look after yourself, if you need to have a break, all those things to repair and heal yourself emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever happens this year, and move on, build your resilience. It's okay to fall down at times, to just let yourself fall apart and be at rock bottom, as long as one day you wake up and go, today's the day, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to get out of bed when I don't feel like getting out of bed. Today's the day I'm going to have a shower when I haven't showered for a few days. Today's the day I'm going to put something nice on. I'm going to feed myself well. I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to sit in the garden when all I want to do is hide in my bed, or just watch movies and play games until I don't care when. We all have choices in when we move out of these bad phases. Speaking of taking time for yourself, that final card there in relation to helpful tools this year is the Hermit card, and that is a card of introspection, of removing yourself from, by choice, calmly, removing yourself from the world a little bit to just contemplate, to a safe place of aloneness, to seek inspiration and wisdom from within you and from your connection to the universe. It's a time of, it's a card about seeking enlightenment, relying on yourself, being introspective, but being quite content to be alone and doing some soul searching, getting some inner guidance, perhaps learning something new, but on your own, a bit of self-study, whether that's about yourself or whether it's some interest that you have. This is a card about taking responsibility for yourself, a card of focusing on the good things in your life, and to get real about what's really important in your life. Sometimes we think that all this physical stuff, all the material things, all the money, all the work, all the objects is real. It's not real. We don't take any of that stuff with us when we die. I personally think what is more real is our connections with people, our connections with the universe, our connection with animals, the things that we love, what we grow and develop and create within ourselves and around us. So interesting that these two cards came up in relation to what may be difficult and obstacle this year. 10 of Swords, boom. And what may be then helpful is to take some time for yourself, take some time away, enter into that quiet, alone space of wisdom, of withdrawal, of contemplation. You know, the Hermit is content in being alone. It's a card of safety. It's a card of protection. So you'll. It sounds like you'll be getting some of that when you need to sort of retreat and kind of rebuild yourself. You'll be getting that a lot from yourself, but not in a damning way of just running away and saying, well, fuck off and fuck you to the world, excuse my language, but more about going, you know what, I'm going to make some kind and gentle choices for myself here and take some time for myself. Maybe this is actually going on a retreat, or going on some sort of break for yourself this year alone. You may end up with people, but you're not going with someone else. That may be very useful for you guys this year. Woof, running out of time. Finally, that last card there, an overall theme for the year, you have Mountain, meaning strong foundation. So I'm going to quickly read from that. Growing up, I could always see the mountains. This is the author speaking. A mountain represents strength and firm foundations. It stands strong, magnificent and proud, the same way it stood for thousands of years, millions of years. With every year, its appearance shows subtle changes as it weathers the storm and elements, but it doesn't waver. It continues to stand silent, weathered but unbreakable, proudly wearing every groove and sign of age. The mountain represents foundations. It reminds you that you need to be grounded and stable as you weather each year of your life. It represents the process of aging and reminds you of the wisdom that comes with each year. Interesting, I think it's talking about those final two cards there. It signifies strength and durability that comes from laying firm foundations. The mountain's gift is gentle pride, strength and wisdom that comes with age. It reminds you it is not always about what you look like on the outside, but what you know in your heart. Be dependable, share wisdom and support each other in the aging process. The mountain reminds you just how much you can withstand in a lifetime. on that note, we're going to have to wrap up. I think this is finally saying that things may be a little bit tricky this year, but there is a real resiliency and strength in Leos this year. All the best for 2019. Thank you so much for listening and watching. I really appreciate it.